Recently, I read a European article on Sweden and Norway. It discussed how young teens use technology and how the use of technology for teens is so important, especially in the U.S. A woman from the committee there said that young teens that are not permitted to use phones, texting back and forth, TTYs, it's really a form of abuse. And this is because it's such an important skill to be able to know how to use all different forms of technology. And people use the skill in their future. So if students aren't permitted to learn this from young, then they're not ever going to be able to know how to use it in their future, and that's abuse. And here in America, people often use the word drug abuse for things that are occurring in towns and doesn't appear often, but for deaf people we see language abuse, communication abuse. So recently I went to a meeting, hearing and deaf people were there, and a situation popped up where they were talking about in a classroom students were learning and they didn't understand what the teacher was saying. I mean, they were really stuck, and the teacher didn't know how to help them. She had patience and everything, but I mean, with this situation, the classroom learned nothing. It went right over their heads. So, I mean, that's really right there. It's language abuse. And even word accuracy. In some professions, maybe they're not comfortable saying signs like protest. And if that message isn't conveyed, that's also abuse too. So you really need this foundation from young to be able to use it in the future. For example, deaf families that have deaf children that are wealthy, have more money, and can pay for all this technology and the lights and everything. I mean, the students have this access and they can learn how to use the technology and have this skill in their toolbox. But I mean, if the family can't pay, then how do those children ever become independent or learn those skills? That's definitely a good example of abuse. There's many, many different situations and examples. And if Europe can permit access, then we should really be able to do the same thing in America.